Hi, I'm Leslie, the Geek Mama, and today I'm doing a video for the Virtual Homeschool Co-op about the negativity and criticism I've received as a homeschooler. Now, the idea in this video is to share who we have received criticism from, the types of criticism that we've received, and then how we've handled it. I'll be honest with you, this isn't my favorite type of video to think about or to prepare. I don't really like to share a lot about negativity and criticism or controversy in social media. When I am participating in social media, when I'm looking at Instagram or Facebook or I'm watching videos on YouTube, I don't want to see anything about negative topics. I don't want to see any downers, basically. You know, if I'm doing that, I'm basically trying to escape to my happy place from all the craziness that goes on in the house, and so I don't really want to focus on things that are negative. And I even go so far as to be really careful about my news feed or about what I let enter into my mind. But sometimes it's necessary to open some communication, some dialogue about topics that affect our families in big ways, and this is certainly one of them. Talking about negativity we receive about a parenting choice. And this particular video is for homeschooling, but really it could be any parenting choice, because as a mom, I know I've never received as much criticism in general as I have as a mom. From the time I was carrying my first child, you get a lot of questions and comments and unsolicited advice about things like what you're naming your kid and how much weight you're gaining and what you're eating and what you're drinking, how you're going to deliver, how you're going to sleep train your baby, if at all, what you're feeding them. Are you nursing? Are you bottle feeding? Are you giving them a pacifier? Are you using cloth diapers or disposable diapers? You know, there's just so many ways that there are so many opportunities for people to criticize us on our choices. No matter what we choose, we're going to receive some form of criticism. I especially felt a lot of that criticism when I decided to be a stay-at-home mom. I didn't expect that, to be honest. Maybe thinking back, I should have, but I was surprised by it. I thought people would be happy for me, or I don't know, I was so excited. I'd always wanted to be home with my kids, and I didn't even have my first child until I was 3 weeks shy of turning 35, and that was a long time to wait for that dream to come true. So when my oldest was 6 months old, we made the choice for me to stay home with him, and we had to make a lot of sacrifices along the way. But I can't imagine, for me, this was the right decision. And for something that feels so right to me, for other people to criticize it, I understand where the criticism is coming from. I mean, I don't understand it on an emotional level, but I understand it on an intellectual level. But I'm still flabbergasted by it, and that criticism only got amped up when we decided to stay home, when we decided to keep our kids home and to homeschool them after spending a year with my oldest in the public school system. I did a video on that and the reasons why we chose to homeschool, so take a look at that if you're interested. But for this video, I'll just share that we felt like it was the right choice for our family. After we're in our second year of homeschooling, I am sure now that it was the right choice for our family. Not everybody feels that way. Now, as far as who has thrown criticism our way, I would say that there's not one particular group of people. I've had the whole gamut of civilization attack me on this. I've had strangers, I've had teachers criticize me. I've had family, friends, neighbors either outright criticize or just make some little veiled criticisms, veiled comments about, communicating what they thought about my choice. So it wasn't any one group of people. And the truth is that I've also received support from all of those same people. I've had strangers be very supportive. Teachers have been very supportive. family, friends, neighbors, all the same people. From any group of people, I have received both the negativity and some support, depending on who I was talking to. And you can't always predict. While it's nice, I will take any support someone's willing to give me. And while that's really nice to have a conversation with someone and hope that they're going to be supportive of you, it leaves me a little off kilter in social situations, because sometimes when I'm in a situation that I feel is safe with someone that I think I can discuss our lives with, and since a big part of my life is homeschooling, that can safely come up in conversation. There have been situations where I feel that that's safe, and it turns out not to be so safe, where I all of a sudden get some little comment or some look that just really catches me off guard. It's like a sucker punch when I'm thinking I'm just having a nice time, and someone comes at me with some criticism. And since I didn't see it coming, I haven't braced myself for it. That really puts me off kilter. And then there's other times in situations where I'm sure someone's going to be negative, and they're not. They're supportive, they're friendly, they're interested, and engage in conversation, and we have a really pleasant time. So as an introvert, as someone who's already not a big fan of social situations to begin with, this has put just another spin on it, where I know that since this is a big part of our lives, and you know what, your kids' education comes up surprisingly a lot. People talk a lot about their kids' schools and activities and, volunteering. People talk a lot about their kids' schools and all school-related things. So of course, I can either say nothing or I can participate in the conversation. So it really comes up a lot. And since it comes up a lot, I feel that I put my guard up a lot. And that's, for someone who's introverted like me, where I really need to step out of my comfort zone to be friendly and engage in conversation. The fact that I feel I need to guard myself on this and guard my family because I don't want to have a confrontation, that's disappointing and often disheartening. And the reason why I think a lot of homeschool parents or a lot of homeschool moms feel so isolated. I know I do. Even to the point where I can't even complain about something, and maybe complain is not the right word, but I can't say, oh my gosh, I'm so tired, I didn't get a minute alone today. Or I kind of feel sometimes like the other person's thinking, well, there's a solution to that. You don't have to homeschool. That's your own fault. Where if the situation was reversed and someone was saying, oh my gosh, I never get to see my kids. I never have good quality time with my kids. If I were to say to them, or imply that, well, there's a solution to that. You don't have to work wherever you're working. You could spend more time with your kids. They would not appreciate that. But for some reason, I think being a stay-at-home mom and being a homeschool mom makes us easy targets where people feel free to treat us in ways that they would not accept for themselves if the situation were reversed. Now, the types of criticism or negativity I've received fall into two basic buckets. The first bucket is the socialization bucket. All the cliches about how, our kids aren't going to learn social skills. They shouldn't be in the house all the time. Don't you want them to make friends? Don't you want them to be socialized? That general type thing. Our very first criticism was actually this social skills argument, and it came from a stranger at World Market. We were just out shopping as a family, and some strangers started talking to us and asked questions, and before you know it, we're getting lectured, where they even followed us out into the parking lot, and that just aggravated me. I thought, oh my gosh, back off. I'm setting a boundary here, back off, go away. I thought, wow, just go about your business and let us go about ours. This is none of your business. But that reminded me that, we hadn't even started homeschooling yet when that happened. So that reminded me that I might get something like this a lot. And I thought, how am I going to put up with this? I don't know that I can. Am I supposed to just bite my tongue all the time? Should I hide what we're doing as if we're doing something wrong, which we're not? It's perfectly legal and a choice that many people make. I mean, there's a box to fill out in our school system for why we withdrew our kid from school. It's because we're homeschooling. We have legal support. You know, it's a legal thing to do. And, you know, we don't live on some commune somewhere. We live in a nice subdivision around other people. So, you know, I don't get why people think that they can just kind of attack me, a stranger can, in front of my children, tell me that I'm making a bad parenting choice for my children. Why do they think that's okay? That's not okay. It's not okay. The other bucket, you know, we have the socialization bucket. The other bucket of criticism I've received has been what I call the passive-aggressive bucket. And this is passive-aggressive comments and behavior, faces. I'll explain what I mean about that in a minute. For the passive-aggressive comments, it's things like, oh, you stay home with your kids, you homeschool, must be nice. And I get the distinct feeling that they don't really think it's nice. What they're saying is, wow, it must be nice to just be able to stay at home and have someone pay your bills for you and just do nothing all day long. That's what they mean. Or little implications like I'm not really doing anything all day long, so I should be free to do somebody's grunt work for them. Because I'm not doing, you know, me and my 3 kids, we aren't doing anything all day long because life is just so easy that way. Or implying that I'm not doing anything worthwhile with my days or with my life, so I'm looking for something to make me feel like I'm doing something worthwhile. Things like that, stuff that, wow, you know, if the tables were turned and I said anything like that to them, these same people would be up in arms. But for some reason they think that they can approach me like that and that I'm just gonna take it. And then there's the little looks, the little faces that people make. I had one person in my home, I mean, it wasn't someone I knew, I still don't know her name, but come to my home and someone told her that I homeschooled and she looks at me like this. Like with absolute disgust. I was shocked. I thought, really? You're in my house enjoying my hospitality? You're gonna look at me like that? For what? For this legal moral choice I'm making? Just because it's different from yours? I had someone else, and this one irritated me more actually. The first one was just so shocking. I thought, what is wrong with you making that face at me? This other one bugged me more. I was at a social event and came up that I homeschooled, and one of the ladies who, again, I really don't know. I don't know her name. She's not really a part of my life, and really, if she were right in front of me, I wouldn't recognize her. I mean, that's how wholly removed she is from my life. But it came up that I homeschooled, and she said, yes, I know, I heard. She looked at all the other ladies at the table like, isn't that stupid? I mean, her words weren't confrontational, but her face was. She definitely communicated with her face that she thought I was making a really bad decision and that I was stupid for making it, and she was so much better than me. Wow, that aggravated me so much. And it was embarrassing at first. I mean, immediately I was embarrassed because we were all looking at her and making these faces like, wow. And so initially I was embarrassed, but then I knew, first of all, that this is clearly not someone I wanted to spend any time with. I mean, she showed me who she was with her behavior, that she was trying to embarrass me like that. And she was trying to get a rise out of me. So I just smiled and said, yeah, we're really looking forward to it. Because again, we hadn't even started homeschooling yet. I mean, do you see that? We hadn't even started homeschooling. And people were so ugly to us. It just boggles my mind, even that we have to have this conversation. Why do I have to do a video for a society of people who've mostly gone to public school and should have all these fantastic social skills? Why do I have to do this video explaining that it bugs me when you come up to me and criticize me about my parenting choices in front of my children? Is that really the behavior of a socially skilled society? I don't think so. Now, as for how I handle those situations, I handle both of those, the passive aggression and the socialization argument, in the same way for different reasons. When it comes to people being so worried about my kids' social skills, those are people who feel that they have the moral high ground. They feel like they have a moral imperative to correct me in the midst of my stupidity or ignorance. They are incorrect in their belief, because if they gave the topic even a moment of thought, if they thought about it for even 30 seconds, they could come up with reasons why public school is not the best way to give our kids a good social education. I mean, they could come up with detriments, social detriments to their children. Just off the top of my head, I would say that bullying, drugs, alcohol, sexual activity, those are 4 big issues for kids to deal with as they're growing up. And I'm not even talking about high school. I'm talking about younger grades dealing with those things. So if they thought about it for just 30 seconds, they could see that maybe telling me in front of my kids that I'm making a bad choice and that I should send my kids to public school because they would come out of that better people than what I'm doing, that might put some holes in their argument. Now, if they gave it not just 30 seconds of honest thought, of being intellectually honest with themselves and not just trying to formulate an argument to support their bias, if they gave it not just those 30 seconds, but then 5 minutes of some honest research, because, this isn't 1986. There's Google, there's the internet. You can download an ebook in just seconds. If they did some research online for just 5 minutes, they would see that homeschool parents easily find a lot of ways to give their kids that social outlet. And that really even people who send their kids to public schools don't fully depend on school to give their kids a social outlet. So when someone uses that socialization argument with me, I know that they haven't thought it through. And let me ask you something. If someone is willing to attack you on a parenting choice, even in front of your kids, using an argument that they themselves haven't thought through, that they're just repeating, things that they've only heard other people say, they're willing to attack you with that, can you have an intelligent, productive conversation with that person? I don't think you can. I mean, I think that that's a conversation that would go downhill real fast. And I don't think it's my job to educate somebody about personal choice I'm making, especially if I didn't open the door to that conversation with them. It's not my job. Again, this isn't 1986. If you really want to be educated about that topic, go do that before attacking me. But, they believe what they're saying. So they believe that they have this moral high ground and that it is their responsibility to set me straight. I can forgive that easier than I can the person who's just passive aggressive with me, because that's just mean. I mean, isn't it? It's just mean. The reason people are passive aggressive is because they want to give themselves that out. So that if you say, hey, I don't really like what you're saying, they could say, well, I didn't mean anything by it. I didn't mean anything. You're just being sensitive, I think, you're just being sensitive. They have an out. Now, I am somebody who will take that out and say, you're full of crap. I know you meant something by it. I need you to back off. I'm willing to do that. I haven't done that yet, but I'm willing to go there. But, the passive aggressive person thinks that they've really got the situation handled. They've made their ugly comment. They've made themselves feel better and feel superior, and there's nothing you can do about it. I just find that really hard to swallow, because you know what? It just pisses me off. I mean, I know what I'm supposed to be saying here is, I just turn the other cheek and I love them with the love of the Lord and all those things, but that's not what I'm feeling. I mean, that's not what I'm thinking. I'm thinking, how dare you? How dare you demean and diminish all my hard work? How dare you look at me with disgust over a personal decision we're making? How dare you make ugly comments to me just so that you can feel better about your own decisions for your family? I mean, and I don't think those people realize that by doing that, they're only shining a spotlight on themselves, on their own personal decisions. You know, they're trying to get that attention off of them and onto you by kind of getting you off guard and making you feel bad about yourself. And so for that reason, I don't feel that, you know, these aren't people that I want to be friends with. These aren't people that I want to invite over to my house. These aren't people who, you know, I want our kids hanging out together. And so for that reason, I disengage. You know, for the passive aggressive comments, I try to disengage because it's not worth it to me, because this isn't someone I want in my life. For the socialization argument, I disengage because a productive conversation just isn't going to happen there. So for both situations, I try to disengage. I will also try to set a boundary often, because I feel that boundaries are really important in any relationship. If that person disrespects a reasonable boundary that I set, then that's just a red flag to me and confirmation that I'm making the right choice to kind of be alert and step back from that relationship. And really, if I were going to give any advice, any unsolicited advice to anyone about how to handle criticism of not just their educational choices, but any parenting choice they make, I would say, for the most part, it's best to just set some boundaries, some appropriate boundaries, and disengage. It's just not worth the emotional turmoil. I mean, there are some relationships and situations that go on for a very long time that you do have to have that confrontation sometimes, and you know, and that's okay. I've been there and done that as well. But many times it's best just to disengage and to think about better things, and that's what I do. People have a problem with the way I educate my kids sometimes, and that's okay. That's their problem. That's not my problem. We have made an intelligent, thought-out decision for our family. It's not the easy way to go about things, but it's definitely the right way for us. I don't think it's the right way for everyone. I really don't even think too much about whether other people should do it or not, because I don't know their lives just like they don't know mine. That's their business. They'll go about doing things the way that's best for them, and we're going to go about doing things the way that's best for us. And that's what I think about that. So if you enjoy this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. You can also go to my blog at lesliemaddox.com and subscribe there to get posts sent to your inbox. I share content there that I don't share on YouTube. There's some cross-pollination, but it's not all the same content on both platforms. So if you're interested, please subscribe. And until next time, I will talk to you later. Bye-bye.